Hello everyone, this is Dave from Free Run Speed. Today I'm going to talk about the Adidas Boston 12. If you go back in the history of running shoes, there's always one single lightweight training shoe that rules the market. Many years ago, it was the DS Trainer from Asics. That shoe was taken over by the Kinvara from Saucony. But there was one shoe that always stood out all over the world, mostly because running is a global sport, and that shoe is the Adidas Boston. In running events all over the world, the Boston was always in the top 10 running shoes overall. But then Nike introduced the Vaporfly 4%. And the game changed completely. Along with that Vaporfly, Nike introduced the Zoom Fly, which was the training version of their carbon-plated super shoe. And that Zoom Fly did very well and took quite a bit of the share that the Boston had and the Kinvara and all the other shoes. Not long after Nike introduced the Vaporfly, the other brands started to address it. And Saucony was the first really major player that came out with the Endorphin line. The Endorphin Pro for racing and the Endorphin Speed for training. And those two shoes absolutely took off. The Endorphins, both shoes in general, now show up in the top 10 overall in races around the world. The Boston is no longer in the top 10. So the Speed took over what the Zoom Fly was trying to do, and it took over what the Boston had already done. And it's been that way for quite a while. Adidas tried to modernize the Boston, bringing out the Boston 10, which incorporated their Light Strike Pro foam and the carbon rods. But for some reason, the shoe just didn't feel like the Boston. In fact, I went out and talked to runners all over the world and asked them if that shoe should have been called the Boston, or if it reminded them of the Boston that they used to wear. And they said, no, it's not the same shoe. And the shoe did okay. It wasn't great. Then the Boston 11 came out, and again, the shoe did okay. It wasn't great. It sure wasn't taking away from what the Endorphin Speed had gotten. The Boston 12 addresses all of that. Not gonna knock what the 10 and 11 were, but essentially, if you were running in the Boston 9 and Adidas was going to update the Boston 9 to be more current with the market using supercritical foam, using carbon technology in the midsole, this is the Boston you were looking for. The setup of the midsole it's just a beautiful setup. The shoe just runs so smooth, so quiet, and literally, you simply want to run fast in this shoe. That's what the Boston was. It was a training shoe that you could go out and run tempo in and feel confident running tempo in. This Boston does the same thing. The shoe incorporates some of the same aspects, specifically in the forefoot, that the Adios Pro has. That flare that's in the forefoot of the Adios Pro is also in this Boston. Paired with the Light Strike Pro is a new Light Strike EVA that is just snappy. And so it gives you, that's really what gives you the quiet sensation on the road. The forefoot ultra thin. You know it's going to be durable, Continental rubber. The upper is simple. It's a single mesh upper. It's not going to stretch very much, which is a good thing, because those of you that run in lightweight shoes most days and do your tempo runs and these kinds of things, you don't want the shoe to stretch, and this mesh won't stretch. The lacing system is a fairly simple Gillies system. That lacing system actually creates a sleeve inside the shoe, so it gives you exceptional lockdown across the midfoot. But instead of making the tongue the sleeve, they just made that cage, so the tongue is free floating and it's a regular tongue. So that's a very ingenious way of doing it. The one drawback, and it's because of who the target runner is for this shoe, is the heel is fairly narrow. Anybody that struggles with narrow heels probably won't like the Boston. But if you've been in the Boston 8 and 9 and really liked it, you're probably gonna like this one. And just a fun thing, I always like the fun stuff on the shoes. This pull tab, pull the shoe on, flip it back. I just love details like that. I don't know if this Boston 12 is now all of a sudden going to take the place of the Endorphin Speed. Like I said, there's always in the market, there's always one lightweight trainer that really kills it. And right now that shoe is the Endorphin Speed. The Boston used to be that shoe. There's no reason why this one won't move up the charts, and more people will be running in this shoe in the next 12 months. Will it overtake that Endorphin Speed? I don't know. Will it get people who used to run in the Boston back into the Boston? It absolutely will. I'm confident of that. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you next time.